Hi, and welcome to another edition of Seniors Today. I'm your host, Tom Bartee, and our guest today is Mr. Matthew Ceryes, who is the general manager of the esteemed Vallejo Yatcht Club. Welcome.
Thanks a lot, Tom. Thanks for having me.
Well, glad you could be here today. The Vallejo Yatcht Club is one of the hidden gems in the city of Vallejo, and has been around for how many years?
Let's see, it was founded in 1900 and it was incorporated in 1902. So call it about 118 years.
Wow.
Same piece of property, too.
Yeah, well, it's pretty cool. And it's right at the foot of Florida Street on the waterfront, for those that aren't aware of where it's located. And the building there today was probably built, it's not the original building.
Second building, 68. Opened up in February of 1968. And the original one was a beautiful Victorian designed by the architect who did the Seattle Corinthian Yacht Club, which still stands. Ours had to be ripped down in 67, 68 because of earthquake retrofitting. The building just, it was better to start new than it was to fix that one. But just for giggles, the little blue triangle on top of the ferry building, the Vallejo ferry building, is designed on our old clubhouse turrets. And you can actually see that at the club. We got an oil painting right where you can line up the ferry building, and pretty neat that they used ours as an architectural guideline for the waterfront.
Mm-hmm. And I understand that as yacht clubs go in the Bay Area and maybe even in California, that the Vallejo Yatcht Club, when it goes through the annual assessment of the services they provide and the racing opportunities and everything else that the club has, is almost always in the top 5.
Yeah. As a matter of fact, I can even be a little more specific than that. We won the PICYA Yacht Club of the Year 9 of the last 12 years.
Wow.
And we shared it with the Benicia Yacht Club a couple of those years. Couple of the years we had it outright. And it's exactly what you say, which is that you have to offer racing, you have to offer learn to sail classes outside of your private club. That has to be open to the general public. So our classes, we do 2 semesters every summer, one in May and June, and one in July and August. We just wrapped up the other classes and highly encourage that. It's a great way to not only see the club, but learning to sail, something that I'm not so great at. My whole family's taken the class. They're all better sailors than I am, which is kind of funny, but lots of opportunity, though, down there.
Yeah, well, my personal experience with sailing, my family moved to Minnesota in 1969, the year after the yacht club was built,
right?
The new one. And my friends were sailors, and I learned to sail that summer. And it's a great experience for kids. It teaches you self-esteem, self-independence,
self-determination.
To think on your feet. There's just so many great things that come from it.
Agreed.
And plus, it's fun.
Absolutely, totally agree. Where'd you learn? Lake Minnetonka up there? Yeah, that's a
Yeah.
great place of water up there.
Yeah, it was the Minnetonka Yacht Club on Bug Island in St. Louis Bay.
Yep.
On Lake Minnetonka.
How about that? No.
And I learned on an X-boat.
I'm not familiar with the X-boat.
The people up in that area have a thing called the ILYA. Right here we have the Pacific.
PICYA, just an organization of other groups, probably the same as
Yachting Association.
That's it.
So the ILYA, Inland Yachting Association, Inland Lakes Yachting Association, they all have the scows in the inland lakes. So the scows all have flat bottoms. And you have an X-boat, you have the next one would be, I think it's an M boat. Then there's a C. No, then there's an E, a C, and an A.
Different classes of boats on there.
It's all based on how long they are.
Oh, okay.
But all of them have one mast. Actually, the M boat has. Well, they all have one mast, but the only one with a jib, I think, is above the M class. Anyway, I'm getting into too much detail there, but it was great learning how to sail. And some of the kids in my high school ended up in the Olympics
Oh, no kidding.
in ILYA style racing.
How about that? Again, like you said, just getting outside, getting wet, and the wind in your hair, being in charge of your own boat. There's something to that, and as you said, those skills are transferable away from the water as well, for sure. And I crew pretty well, but I haven't skippered anything yet. So.
And then on Wednesdays they have what they call the beer can series, right?
That's right. Almost all the yacht clubs have some version of that. Ours are Wednesday nights from April through September. That's every Wednesday night for 6 months. So, even people who have other things going on in their life, there's always another Wednesday you can get back to, so that's pretty nice. And that's actually the only experience really I have, is crewing on those Wednesday nights. They're called the beer can races for a lot of yacht clubs, because the crew will come with some libations for the rest of the crew at the end of the race, and you can see all the interested parties with similar minds doing that. I believe ours are Wednesdays. The Benicia Yacht Club, who's kind of our sister club, has them on Thursday, and we've got a lot of sailors who race in them both. They'll do our club and then go over there for Thursday's excitement too. As a matter of fact, we just had a fun thing this year, which was the Carquinez Straits inaugural competition cup, where we just went head-to-head against the sailors of Benicia, because we're, I guess, 9-10 miles apart. And so we got a couple of gifts put together and a meal thrown together, and picked a Saturday and had the whole fleet racing against each other. It was a lot of fun. So
Wow, it sounds like it.
I think we did pretty well, but can't remember quite frankly.
Yeah.
But I think we took them.
Well, for people that aren't really sure about, should I be a part of the yacht club? First of all, when you hear the word yacht club, you think, oh yeah.
And that's a great point. Sometimes I wish we were
high-end
called the Vallejo Boat Club. You have a
Yeah.
great point. When I went to City Hall years ago to read a little proclamation that they had going, I put that in the speech. I said, I think people would understand us better if we were the Vallejo Boat Club. For instance, car clubs. There's not a lot of mystery there. They have a common hobby, and they like to get together, and you're just more when all that's happening. So yeah, you're right. Yacht has a loaded connotation to it. Now that you brought it up, I would throw the Vallejo Yacht Club, though, as one of the least pretentious sailing clubs around. Most sailors are pretty down-to-earth people. There's something about sailing that maybe humbles a person. I don't know. Nobody, you can be an expert at it and still get humbled out at sailing. So seems to be in our area too. All the workers from Mare Island and our connection with all of those folks who worked over there. So yeah, we've got a nice no silver spoon kind of policy down at the yacht club. A lot of do-it-yourselfers, and I admire that of those guys.
Yeah, and I've always thought it was a very friendly club and very inclusive. And there's always plenty of stuff to do. I mean, almost every weekend you have a dinner.
Yeah, we have a dinner every single Friday night, and Saturdays we add events ad hoc. If we have another club cruising in, for instance, we have the Sacramento Yacht Club cruising in with 12 or 13 boats next weekend. And so we're going to add a little dinner for Saturday night, and folks are welcome to come join it and or not. And that's one great thing about the yacht clubs, is the reciprocity that is enjoyed by all the clubs. We're reciprocal with all these clubs. Our membership card gets you in the front door of all of those other clubs. So whether you're going to lunch in the city and you want to see the Golden Gate Yacht Club, or down the peninsula, or up here, it's a nice network. We recognize all those clubs, and it's neat to be able to club hop, so to speak. And that's just the drive-ups. Folks who own a boat really love the reciprocity, because you can sail in to those clubs and be hosted.
Yeah.
And that feels good. So for Sacramento coming in a week, we're throwing a big lobster feed for them. And I've been the manager at the yacht club 13 years. I don't remember us ever doing lobster. So, but we're going to do it the family style, the Louisiana way. Newspaper on the picnic tables, and then you roll out the boil, and it's got corn cob ears and potatoes and sausage, and then the lobster, shrimp, of course. So we're going to have a big throwdown with Sacramento coming up. So yeah, there's lots of stuff between racing and the meals and learning to sail. We also have a lot of dances, and we'll have book series, music. I've even got some guys who are practicing right now upstairs in my boardroom with their band. Has really nothing to do with sailing, but we have the meeting space, we have the parking lot, and you've got 7 guys down there jamming to bluegrass music with all of their instruments upstairs. You can hear it down below. We kind of enjoy it. And but yeah, there's something always going on between one thing or another, and it does not necessarily have to do with boating or sailing too.
Well, thank you for giving me the lowdown on the laydown on the lobster hoedown.
You got it.
What's the date for that?
That is 1 week from this Saturday. I believe that's the 29th. Saturday's 22nd, so the next is the 29th. We have a nice sign-up sheet at the club, but I've also put it out on everybody's email too, so folks can bounce that email back with a reply button and RSVP to me. And
so if people are interested in a membership, how do they arrange for that?
That's a good question, Tom. The main thing is to just email me at manager@vyc.org. You can reach my email at manager@vyc.org. You're welcome to call as well, but email is a good way to get started because I can forward a lot of information, prices. Membership takes about a month. There's a short interview, but I want to stress something, Tom, and I say this probably 5 times a week. The interview is not a hurdle that people have to clear. It's more of an introduction to the club, a name exchange, an icebreaker, if you will. We come down, we talk about boating a little bit, look at the application, try to find some common denominators, and then get them sworn into the club, and a week or 2 later they get a key because the whole place is available 24 hours a day to the members. And then once we've got them into the fold, we call each other shipmates after that. So, so yeah, if you hit me up at the email, I can give prices. You can even send the application as well, and I have a couple of flyers. And then for fun, I always throw a few pictures in too, because nothing speaks louder than a nice photograph of a full room of people having fun, or maybe a sunset out on the docks too.
And what other people may not realize is that, first of all, you have great security, and there's like a numerical keypad on the front door, and keys for the other access gates for the
That's true.
for the back of the club, and also for the dock area. And the club has full shower facility.
Yeah, there's 2 in the ladies, 2 in the men's, so 4 total showers.
So if you go out sailing and there's a little sea salt or
That's right.
sea spray on you, you can shower down after that, and also a full bar.
Yeah, the bar is fantastic. The lounge, a one-touch fireplace, Wi-Fi. I know one thing in my spiel, because I get so many folks, and I try to use myself as an example. I had never been in a yacht club in my entire life, nor on a sailboat in my entire life before I got the job. And some of the sailors thought that was kind of funny. It didn't matter that I was good with people or money or computers. They wanted to see somebody who could sail too. At least from their general manager, and I got out on those Wednesday nights as fast as possible. And not only did I do it to be part of the group, I found I liked it real fast too. So I've been out about 30, maybe 35 times on Wednesday nights. I'm even working foredeck a little bit now, so I'm there. I'm not as poor as I was years ago. But you know, bringing up the fact of membership, you know, I got that job and wanted to make sure that folks who couldn't see themselves at the yacht club, how would I fit in there? And I use myself as an example because there's so many different ways to take advantage of it. I've got some guys who bring family and friends. I got some guys who are leaving family and friends at home. I've got gals who are bringing in maybe some work contacts or some folks with their job. I've got other gals who that's their getaway. They're not going to have anything to do with their work, but everybody gets something different out of the club. Sometimes they're entertaining folks, sometimes they're entertaining themselves, whether it's racing or cruising or playing music. And I've got some guys, the do-it-yourself South Dock, I got to throw that out there. We have a lot of marinas don't allow tinkering on your boat, and we have a 6,000-pound lift. We can pull the mast, we can pull the engines. You'll have 3 or 4 guys helping you before the end of the day. They might be telling you that you're doing it wrong, but they're still going to offer their help. That's one of my jokes. And so anyway, just so many different ways to take advantage of the club. And we even have a crew membership, Tom, which has turned into more of a social membership where they're not necessarily boating at all. They're coming down for the lobster. They're coming down to hear the music or to dance. And then the final thing I'd throw in there, Tom, thanks for indulging me, is being able to create your own subset inside the club. I had a guy come and say, hey, do you guys have a bass fishing club? And I said, no. And he goes, well, you should. And I said, guess what? You're the president of the new bass fishing club, and I'll make my emails available if you want to do a blast to the whole membership. Hey, the first meeting of the inaugural club will be this Saturday. You as a member can make any kind of group that you like. What's another one? Book club. I've got some ladies who set up a book club on Sunday morning, and they come down and they get some pastries and fire up the coffee machine, and the next thing you know, move the chairs in a circle, and they're doing book club stuff. So sometimes it's just the fact that we have a house and a parking lot and we've got the land, and so lots of different ways to take advantage of the compound, the building, and all the things that go with it.
So a couple other things I thought of. People can have liveaboards.
Yeah, we're filled up with, you can. We're filled up right now. A marina is only allowed 10% of your boats to live aboard, or it changes your status with the state. Like to a mobile home park, or your sewage changes. Everything changes. So we cap it at 10%. We've got 130 boats, so 10% is about 13 liveaboards. But it is a nice thing, especially for that lifestyle. And as a matter of fact, it's gaining some traction around the bay, probably with all the way housing has gone. There's a direct correlation there to the money. But it is an option. We're just filled up now. In fact, I got 5 on the waiting list, and that's going to take a good year or so to work through. But, some people are planning and looking ahead. It's not a bad idea.
And I know we can't talk about numbers, but I can say from personal experience that there's almost nothing that you can do joining a club or whatever that is anywhere near offering as many features and is as affordable as the Vallejo Yacht Club.
That's a great point, Tom, and I appreciate you bringing that up. Call Matthew at the club or email manager@vyc.org to talk specifics, but you're exactly right. For what you're getting, the price is extremely low. In fact, I would hazard a guess that most people out there would be surprised at how affordable it is. So give old Matty a call if you'd like to hear how affordable it is. But certainly when you stack it against all the things that you can take advantage of, it is a great deal. And we compare to the other clubs very well too. So
also you have a full kitchen.
That's right.
Full commercial kitchen.
Full commercial kitchen, granite tops. The club is available to rent when you are a member. Anniversaries, birthday parties, retirement things. The only stipulations, we don't quite rent to the general public. There's got to be a member sponsor to chaperone the event. Somebody who's familiar with the facilities and the electricity and where everything is. But once a member is hooked up, and on board, the kitchen and the bar and the dance floor and the PA system, my goodness, I don't know how many weddings I've done down there, but it's got to be about 20. And so 20 weddings, 1 million birthdays, anniversaries. We're starting to get popular now with the corporate circuit, Tom. Alstom, the train folks on Mare Island. We've hosted a couple of seminars for them where they flew folks in from overseas, and again that parking lot, that central location. And the Coast Guard has their Christmas party every year. They have a retirement party coming in, so I've doubled the rentals from the Coast Guard, and a few other ones too. And it's my pleasure, actually. Also, the dry docks. We hosted the Polar Star, the Coast Guard Icebreaker. Any crew that's over there at Mare Island, the USS Emery Land, we always send a delegation and say, look, you guys probably are getting ready to get off of the boat at some point. Come on down and we'll host a little grill, get some burgers on the grill, a couple of pitchers going, and give them the freedom to finally get off of the ship for a little while. So, so we're doing pretty well with that.
Another thing that occurred to me is just talk a little bit about the fact that sailing is almost an ageless sport.
Oh boy, you're right.
And I know there's people in the club, you know, I'm not exactly a spring chicken myself, but I know there's people in their 80s and maybe
Absolutely.
even 90s that are club members.
Absolutely, and I'm thinking of two guys right now who are probably 83, 84, and sailing keeps them young. I mean, I'm taking notes for sure, because use it or lose it, I guess, is another way to say it. These guys, if they're going to varnish something, or they're running something up the halyard, or just general shakedown to make sure everything is ship shape, there's something to it. And I don't know if it's the romance of the spray and the fresh air, but that combined with a little bit of hard work, as we all know, you know, a person at rest stays at rest, and a person in motion tends to stay in motion. So you're really true on that. Some of these guys in their 70s and 80s, I just now qualify for ARP, but they're putting me to shame for sure. So I got to get out there and stay with those guys. Great point. Sailing keeps you young. No other way to say it.
Yeah, and the club, you know, being on the Mare Island Straits, you're only minutes from the main part of the bay.
Yep.
And you can go up to the Delta, or you can go out to the
Half a
Golden
river.
Gate.
Yep.
And I know on my boat over the years I've done that many times, actually with my kids. I took my kids out, and I would do like 4 or 5 days just on the bay.
That's the best.
Going from one yacht club to another, staying at Angel Island.
Exactly.
And I mean, it's a mini, affordable, safe adventure for the family and for young kids. And
good for you. What a neat thing. I would love to do that. And you're right. There's so many things here in the bay to take advantage of. I'm from the flatland. You're from points back east, and I never am going to lose that fascination with driving across the bridge and looking down in the bay and see if anybody's on the water right now. It's we get harbor seals every now, or is it sea lions, up into the VYC harbor every now and then, and I forget. I might be down there with my clipboard, and I'm checking boats out, and I'm making sure I'm getting the rent here and getting the rent here, and then a 500-pound mammal surfaces and spits at you and says, "Don't forget about me," and I'm never going to get tired of that. I'm from places far and flat, and so anytime San Francisco Bay shows me something remarkable, I get a thrill out of it. Like
people would be amazed at the variety of fish in the Mare Island Channel.
I know, it's amazing.
I know from green sturgeon.
Yep.
To
striped bass, I see them all the time.
Yeah. Salmon,
the smelt. You've got the CFW, or the Fish and Wildlife, out there knocking the smelt in all the time. And well, heck, Tom, we've even I think part of this is the Navy leaving. Once the Navy left, things started to clean up a little bit over there. Not to knock the Navy, but sure, with all that activity, something fell overboard somewhere. We've got river otters now, and nobody can remember a river otter at the Vallejo Yacht Club.
I've seen them, but not here.
Not sea otters, but river otters, the freshwater.
Yeah.
And so they're coming upriver a little bit. And the ospreys, everybody knows about the ospreys at Mare Island Dry Docks up in the old cranes. And so it's just fun. And we are on the bay. You're absolutely right. It is the Napa River, which turns into the Mare Island Straits, but it's only 1.75 miles from our front door to the bay. And that's probably why we have so many members from Napa and Sonoma, even all the way up to Sacramento and Reno. Because if you turn that San Francisco Bay map upside down, who's first on the bay? Your town. Vallejo, California. We are first on the bay.
Yeah.
And so, that's why Jack London, back in the old days, joined the club. Because once he moved to Glen Ellen, what's the fastest way to get on the boat? And to take the electric train or whatever he had all the way to Oakland, your day is done before you ever get onto the bay. So he joined our club in 1910, and a lot of folks in the North Bay are still finding out how close we are to San Francisco Bay.
Yeah, and quickly, the reciprocity, I've used that as far away as Monterey.
Yep.
And Seattle.
Absolutely.
Anywhere on the West Coast, you show them your card and you can get into the club.
It's right, Tom. From Vancouver to Puerto Vallarta, and 5 in Hawaii.
I actually went to the Vancouver Yacht Club, which isn't in Vancouver.
It's in Victoria, isn't
it? No, you go up around Vancouver and up to the Fraser River, and then up the Fraser River.
Oh, okay.
About 10 miles.
Oh, my goodness.
And it's tucked away in this little inlet. And that's the last time I saw a sea otter laying on its back, cracking a
crab open or something.
With a rock in his hand.
Yeah,
that was pretty amazing.
Oh, I love it.
Yeah.
It's the best.
Last thing I wanted to mention is that the club has some very accomplished sailors, and some that are maybe internationally or at least nationally
that's a great point.
Accomplished.
Thanks for reminding me. Some of these guys race in the Transpac, and the Transpac launches from San Francisco, usually the St. Francis Yacht Club, and lands you at Hawaii. And I'm not sure the club, maybe the Nowili Willie or the Hawaiian Yacht Club, but all the same, this is a big deal to those open water sailors. That's called blue water sailing, something I've never done, but it's on my bucket list, to get outside the gate onto blue water. Mm-hmm. And not only have some of our guys won it, we even had a neat story where a single-handed sailor got demasted out in the middle of the Pacific in bad weather, and I think he was rescued by the Coast Guard, but they had to abandon the boat. And they had a transponder in it, so they could follow it, but here's this sailboat out in the drift, thousands of miles from land. And after our guy won his leg of the Transpac and got his little lei in the drink, he and 3 other volunteers got into a boat to go get the other guy's boat, because it's all he had. He lived on that boat. His entire life was on that boat, which racing, and I don't know if that's the smartest thing. Long story short, they followed that transponder for 1,000 miles till they got that thing, roped it up, and they brought it all the way back to Hawaii for that guy to give him his boat back.
That's a cool story, and it's a great way for me to say, I'm sorry we're out of time.
My pleasure, Tom.
So
thanks for having me. Appreciate it, Tom. Thanks very much for having me.
So that's all the time we have for today. Our show airs at 6 p.m. Tuesdays and Thursdays on Comcast 27, AT&T UVerse 99, and streaming live video at vcat.tv. Come see us again next time.